First of all, your name. Pretty simple. As of date. So there's two dates on this. This would be as of date and date completed. Date completed would be the date that you're actually filling this out. So for me, this is September 19. As of date would be the date that you're going to assess how much all of these are worth. A lot of times you'd use a month end or a year end just because that's when you'd have statements. For example, like you'll have a bank statement for these or an investment statement. Um, real estate, that's a little bit tougher because you don't necessarily get statements, but you're more likely to have statements for your liabilities and assets and investments once a month. So here you can just do cash on hand. Some people like to carry a decent amount of cash and have a decent amount of cash at home. So if you do, fill that out. If you don't, you can always delete it. How much is in your checking account, savings accounts, and money markets? The other way you could do it is, you could rename this to checking account dash Bank of America or savings account Wells Fargo, wherever you have your money. Once again, fill this in. If you prefer, you can break it down by stocks, bonds, mutual funds, kind of how that is. Or once again, you can go with a custodian. You could write E-Trade or TD Ameritrade, Schwab, Vanguard, whoever's holding your money. Or if you'd rather see it broken down by stocks, bonds, mutual funds, whichever way works. Once again, if you don't have something, just delete it. Real estate. This would be your house. Like I said up here, you can get a lot of that from your monthly statement. Your real estate's a little bit more difficult. There's a couple ways you can do that. Like I know who I personally have my mortgage with. On their website, I can go and they'll give me a rough idea of how much the house is worth. You can also go out onto Zillow or different websites, or you can go to your property taxes. Where I live, the property tax value tends to be a little bit lower than what I actually can sell it for, which is good because then I'm paying, less money. So you can kind of look at those three things. Or if you have a real estate agent that you're friends with, ask them for a rough idea, or just go online and look at a house and that's sold recently. And if it's similar to yours, you can kind of take a guess from there. That kind of pertains to all real estate. Vehicles. No, don't. Mine's all from hand me downs or, TJ Maxx or wherever, and whatever other personal property you have. So then let's see. Let's move on to liabilities. But you can see right here your total assets in this case would be about 688,000. Liabilities. Here once again you can go to the statement to get it. Mortgage on your primary house, whatever you owe. Auto loans, student loans, any different types of debt. Total assets. So right here you can see this is the amount of total assets. Here's your total liabilities. If you subtract total assets minus if you subtract total assets minus total liabilities, that gets you to your net worth. Once again, well, not once again here. So now we're going to move down to our monthly income and expense. If you want to switch this, you can just retype over that and switch it to yearly, and then go down here and switch it to yearly, or you can do weekly, whatever floats your boat. Once again, you can completely edit these however you want to. Housing. Now we just put whatever your mortgage is in there, plus your escrow, and if it was in utilities, if you'd rather break utilities down, write utilities. Transportation, I'd include cars, your car insurance, your repair and maintenance, and then also your gasoline. Food and groceries. Lazy to actually do the math there myself. Debt payments. Up here I said I didn't have any debt besides the house, and so and I'm including that mortgage payment here, so I would leave that 0. Health insurance, you can leave that there, or if you want to, you can put your house insurance, but I would probably put that up with housing. In this case, I would probably, or you could put health insurance, but if this is your net salary, which is salary after all your taxes and benefits have been paid out, which would include your insurance for most people, then you wouldn't put that there. So that kind of depends what your situation is. If you want to delete it and write something else there, go for it. I'm just going to leave it blank. Entertainment and leisure. This is the fun stuff. Savings and investments. I like to always make sure that this is 0, but doing a 0-based budget, but I'm going to go to other expenses first. Which would say my savings and investments would be that. All right. I said I would always do the end of the month or the end of the year. There you go. That's how that works. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave me a message.